Hey folks, I'm Sarah and I'm on the 2025 jury for what I think is the best book prize for literary fiction from small presses. It's called the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada, and it is dedicated to literary fiction from small presses in North America. Over the next few months, I will be sharing every single book nominated for the prize, and while I can't share my personal opinions on each book just yet, I will share enough details so that you can get to know the book and the publisher. Every book gets its very own video, and you are not going to want to miss a single one. Book number 3, but again in no particular order, is Eden's Clock by Norman Locke, and this is published by Bellevue Literary Press. This novel opens in 1906, and Frederick Heigold is sitting in a bar in San Francisco, and he notices a group of patrons who are sitting a little ways off, and as he's listening to their conversation, he realizes one of those other patrons in the bar is none other than writer Jack London. Heigold would love to approach Jack London, who's a writer that he admires. He would love to go up to Jack London and tell him all about the great adventure that he has had himself traveling to San Francisco from New York, because it is an adventure worthy of a Jack London novel. But unfortunately, Heigold can't just go up to Jack London and tell him his story, because Heigold has suffered in the Civil War. He was a soldier in the Civil War, and he suffered an injury to his throat that has rendered him mute. He can't speak at all, so he goes around with a slate and with paper to write down anything he needs to communicate. And so, desperately wanting to share his story with Jack London, he begins to write it down, and that becomes this novel. His journey starts in New York many months before. He's a clocksmith. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but he's just lost his wife of many decades to a tragic accident. And after the death of his wife, he is invited to come fix a clock in San Francisco. He's kind of a renowned clocksmith, is my understanding. And so he's invited to come fix this clock in San Francisco, and he thinks, what do I have to lose? There's nothing for me here. I might as well go. And so he sets off for San Francisco, but what should be a fairly short westward journey across the nation unfortunately turns epically disastrous. And along the way, these obstacles that he encounters really reveal the deeply ingrained fault lines that exist in American society at the time, and really speak to those same fault lines that still exist in American society today. And fault lines is a particularly apt term to use because, as you can see from page 1, the night he arrives in San Francisco is in fact the eve of the great earthquake of San Francisco of 1906. Eden's Clock is the final installment in a 12-book series called The American Novels. Each novel is its own standalone book, its own standalone story, but each and every novel in the 12-book series is a tribute to a legendary American literary figure. So this book is in homage to Jack London, the final book, but let me read you the writers who make appearances in all of the other 11 novels in this series. So we have, in the 11 other books, Norman Locke pays tribute to the stories and writing styles of Mark Twain, Walt Whitman, Edgar Allan Poe, Henry David Thoreau, Emily Dickinson, Herman Melville, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Louisa May Alcott, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Stephen Crane. Another book to note from Bellevue Literary Press from my shelves is To and Fro by Leah Hager Cohen, and this was on the long list for the Republic of Consciousness Prize, United States and Canada last year. It was also one of my favorite books from the long list, and it is a book that can be read from the front or read from the back. There's 2 different stories of 2 different girls. They meet in the middle, and it's fantastic. So that's To and Fro. Bellevue Literary Press has been publishing prize-winning books since 2007, as they share on their website, and they say that it is the They are the first and only nonprofit press dedicated to literary fiction and nonfiction at the intersection of the arts and sciences. They say, we believe that science and the humanities are natural companions for understanding the human experience. I would agree with that. They say, we feature exceptional literature that explores the nature of consciousness, embodiment, and the underpinnings of the social contract. With each book we publish, our goal is to foster a rich interdisciplinary dialogue that will forge new tools for thinking and engaging with the world. And here are two examples. I think To and Fro speaks more to that exploration of the nature of consciousness and embodiment. And Eden's Clock is definitely squarely in the realm of literature that explores the underpinnings of the social contract. And that's just one of many incredible books nominated by one of many incredible publishers. The long list of 10 books is usually announced in mid-January-ish, but I guarantee you there are going to be more than 10 amazing books from these nominees. So if you love offbeat, under-the-radar literary fiction, you are going to want to follow along. Click above or below for the next nominated book. If I've filmed it, it'll be available there. If not, stay tuned for just a little while longer. And in the meantime, you can click the playlist below that will contain all of the nominated books that I've shared so far. Again, my name is Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.